Here's Mike Dewine. We mentioned this a little bit earlier, but it's worth viewing. Mike Dewine, the governor of Ohio. They are again in this state. They have set up a website to report not whether your employer is maintaining the standards put out by the Ohio Health Department and the CDC to protect workers and potentially, I guess, customers. But instead, there's a website set up where you can report workers who are too afraid to come in to work so that they are not eligible for unemployment insurance. And here is DeWine. I guess rainy day is just, it means a different thing in Ohio.
I want to outline briefly where these cuts will be made. And again, these are cuts that we'll be making for the next 2 months. We will reduce Medicaid spending by $210 million. K through 12 foundation payment reduction will be $300 million. Other education budget line items, $55 million. Higher education, $110 million. All other agencies, $100 million. And that totals up to $775 million.
Now, I like how he says we're just going to be cutting this. We're going to be cutting the numbers, but he's not saying we're going to be kicking off the Medicaid rolls. X number of thousands of people.
During a pandemic.
During a pandemic.
I mean, at any time obscene.
They have, what is it? 1.5. How much money do they have in their rainy day fund? I lost my
$2 billion.
$2 billion. $2.7 billion. Here it is. They have $2.7 billion in their rainy day fund, and they are cutting Medicaid, education, and education. Saving $775 million. They have, you could basically not make those cuts and still have $2 billion in your rainy day fund. Like, I don't know how much rain. It's not raining if all you're doing is kicking people who are living in poverty off of their health insurance, or you're simply making education for public school kids that much worse. It's not a rainy day. That's a sunny day. Mike DeWine's part of the country.
You talk about the psychological tolls of things that these people like to selectively use when they're demanding we reopen the economy. I mean, it's innately, unbelievably dangerous, obviously, not to have health insurance. But I could tell you just even, I mean, when I turned 18 years old and I wasn't eligible for whatever the public program was in Massachusetts, that scared the hell out of me. And that's at a time in your life when, like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like I still went and lived life, didn't think about it, but it just occurs to you like, oh, I'm going to go play basketball. If somebody comes down on my ankle, that might actually be a bigger problem than just like a bad couple of weeks. And you're doing that psychological burden during a freaking pandemic, while at the same time forcing a bunch of people who probably because of their jobs don't have health insurance back to work. I mean, that is murderous. It's the only word I could think of.